Alrighty guys, welcome back. We are here for our week 5 news episode along with our week 6 one because it is our bye week in week 6. So we're going to take some time and talk about a lot of different things. But first, we're going to start off with talking about last week's game in which we ended up tie. But let's not talk about it here. Let's get straight into it now. Alright, so just talking about the game in general. Obviously, we got out to a slow start in this game. We were down when neither team scored in the first quarter. Second quarter, Jacksonville rallied up 10 points, but we also got a touchdown. We followed up with a second touchdown in the third and a field goal in the fourth, but Jacksonville was able to tie it up with a touchdown late. We took it into overtime, tied 17-17, and after an extra quarter of play, we still couldn't get a victor, and we ended up with a tie. And that was a decision we made. We realized the clock was going down. We had to take a shot. So we took our opportunity. Although nobody loves a tie, really, we understood that we had to either win or we could not take a loss after going off a straight second loss. We wound down the clock, took a shot late, and it didn't work out. So we ended up with a tie, 17-17. And it's a very awkward situation to feel because you don't really know how to respond to that. Looking over the game, though, offensive yards, we had way more offensive yards than they did. That came because we had 170 rushing yards, a couple yards shy of our goal, but still very impressive nonetheless. Passing yards were very similar. First downs, we had 6 more than they did. We had very good punt returning, very good kick returning, and it was just a great job overall. We had 1 turnover to them. Fourth down conversions, we had 2, they had 1. And obviously, it was just a very tight game. The big kicker was they had much more time possession than they did. When they had the ball, they kept it for a very long time. And that disallowed us from being able to make some distance between them. And obviously, those are the kind of things that happen when you have division games like this, tight games with a lot of skill in them. And we go over to the player-specific stats. Let's check out passing first. Trevor Lawrence, Davis Mills, very similar games, which is very surprising seeing as Trevor Lawrence seems to have a ton of potential for his team, and Davis Mills seems to not really. Davis Mills was able to put together 223 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 pick, and very similar, Trevor Lawrence was able to get 227 yards with 1 touchdown, but no picks. In the rushing attack, Dameon Pierce had 148 yards off 25 carries. That is 5.9 a carry. Still killing it. 10 broken tackles on the day. He is continuing to be a monster. James Robinson for their side of the ball, 19 carries, 27 yards, only 1.4 a carry. Great job shutting him down. Trevor Lawrence was scrambling a little too much early. He had 4 for 23, and that came out to 5.8. I'm sorry, that's 5.8 a carry. My apologies. Great job by him. Davis Mills had 1 scramble for 10 yards. We'd love to see that. Andy Janovich continues to stand out whenever we give him carries at the fullback position. 2 for 9, 4.5 carry, and Marlon Mack had 2 for 7. I forgot to mention one of those fullback dives by Andy Janovich was near the end zone for a touchdown. We had to reward him some way, and that is how we got that. The receiving attack. Brevin Jordan led the way with 4 catches, 67 yards, 16.8 a catch. Great job as a tight end. That's what we want to see. Obviously doing a lot of the dirty work deep, but being able to get those big catches when we need them is huge. For them, they were led the way by Laviska Shenault Jr., 4 for 61, 15.3 a catch. Also, John Mechie the third, 4 for 52, 13 catches, 13 yards per catch. Dan Arnold for them, their tight end, 5 catches, 50 yards, 10 yards a catch, and a touchdown on the day. And everything else is pretty similar numbers. We had a touchdown in the receiving game by Dameon Pierce. He continues to get scores, whether it's the running attack or the catching attack. May have had a bit of a slow start in that department, but he continues to kill it in all the other departments. In the blocking game, Jawan Taylor led up a sack for them, and Titus Howard led up a sack for us. So again, nothing too crazy. I'm very impressed by this offensive line with the production they've been able to have. On the defense side of the ball, they were led by Rayshawn Jenkins and Devin Lloyd in tackles. For us, led by Jerome Baker. I believe it's 2, maybe 3 weeks into his tenure here. He's continued to be a very good option for us in the linebacker position. Continue to make plays all over the field. Tackles for loss, however, we have to talk about that. Again, led the way by Jerome Baker with 3. He's also tied by Josh Allen, Jonathan Grenard, and Rasheem Green in that department. I'm sorry, not Rasheem Green, but the other players there. For sacks, 2 for Josh Allen. He was dominating us. Andre Sisco with 1, Jerry Hughes with 1, and then we had half a sack for Jonathan Grenard, and the other half was shared by Rasheem Green. Interceptions, 1 for Foya Sadaloakan. Just a ugly play from Davis Mills. Unneeded, really, unnecessary, and we can't have plays like that. So it was lucky that we stopped them, but just we can't be giving stuff away like that. So the interception for him. Let's talk about deflections. Derek Stingley Jr. had 2 huge deflections on the day. 1 for Devin Lloyd, 1 for Darius Williams, 1 for CJ Gardner-Johnson, 1 for Tyson Campbell, 1 for Jalen Beatrice, and 1 for Shaquille Griffin. We need to go to forced fumbles. No forced fumbles on the day. That would mean no fumble recoveries on the day. And then nothing else. No blocks, no safeties, no defensive. 1 defensive touchdown. Obviously on that awful pick that was thrown by Davis Mills. And we need to... That can't happen. It just can't happen. While we are here, we can also talk about some other games that have gone on around the league this week. And we can start with the game that was done before we even started playing. The Thursday Night Football matchup with one of our division rivals, the Colts. And they handled business. It was a 24-14 game. Indianapolis up top. It looks like the story of the game, Indianapolis was very consistent with their offensive attack. Denver tried to come up late and try to make a comeback, but they were unable to do so, losing by 10. They had more offensive yards on the day, the Broncos did, but it looks like the Colts had dominated the rushing game, and they relied on that throughout the game. It looks like a pretty easy game to see how this one went. Looks like the rushing attack just led them, and we'll go to player-specific stats to see if anything stands out for them. Matt Ryan, just a okay game, nothing too special, 140 yards for 1 touchdown. Ooh, and it looks like Russell Wilson was giving this game away. 256 yards, 1 touchdown, but 3 interceptions. The rushing attack, Jonathan Taylor back to his old ways, 20 carries for 172 yards, 8.6 carry, 1 touchdown on the day. And let's see, we also had a rushing touchdown for Nyheim Hines and 1 for Melvin Gordon for the Broncos, so that's something. In the receiving game, 100 yards flat for Tim Patrick, 5 yards catch, 1 touchdown. Any other touchdowns on the day, any other performances, 1 for Paris Campbell. We know all about him. Blocking, we're not really worried about that, but let's take a look and see what happened on the defensive side of the ball, because this has to be a huge story. 2 sacks for Yannick Ngakoue, 1 for Randy Gregory, 1 for Malik Reed, 1 for Kwity Paye, and 1 for Mike Parcell. Interceptions, 1 for Rodney McLeod, 1 for Bobby Okereke, and 1 for Kenny Moore. We know all about both these teams. We played them both, got W's against both, and this is a great clash to see. Unfortunately, we would have liked the Broncos to come out on top, just because if the Broncos come up on top, it doesn't affect our division. But anyways, let's move on. And up in Washington, we saw the Tennessee Titans, the other member of our division, take a loss. So that's huge for us. They lost 28-22, a 6-point loss. Very unfortunate. If you take a look at the box score, you see 9 points in that first quarter. The Tennessee Titans were actually able to get a safety on the day. So that was very key for them. Washington then tried to come back. They started to make a comeback late in the second, early in the third, and they were able to get just enough to scrape by. They went into overtime, actually, and got the touchdown, putting them ahead, getting them the win. So 2 overtime clashes in the AFC South this week. That's kind of interesting to see. They were actually able to pick up a win, as we were not. It looks like the Titans actually led the game in passing yards. Looks like a pretty even game. If I can see where the difference really happened. Nothing. It looks pretty even. It looks like maybe the players for success will give me something different, but the team stats look pretty similar. Let's see. Carson Wentz, 193 yards, yes, and 1 touchdown on the day. He also ate 1 sack. Ryan Tannehill, he had 70 yards on the day, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but it looks like he might have gotten hurt because Malik Willis, the rookie, came in for 163 yards. He threw a touchdown. He did throw 2 interceptions, however. He ate 5 sacks. Maybe he was starting and got hurt, actually, because those are some really rough stats. Ooh, doesn't look like he's injured still, so that's good news for them. But in the rushing attack, 25 for 80 for Derrick Henry, 3.2 a carry, and a touchdown. No fumbles in the day for him. On the other side of the ball, J.D. McKissick, 20 carries, 71 yards, 3.5 carry. And the only touchdown in the rushing game really looks like it was from Brian Robinson Jr. So it looks like this is a pretty even game. Nothing really noteworthy to talk about here. It looks like Washington just caught momentum at the correct time and got ahead. So very interesting game there. And we got to take a quick look. Our boy Brandon Cooks, obviously we had him in a trade. We sent him over to Miami. And it looks like we found the first win of his tenure on the Dolphins. They won 45-27. Big win over the Jets. Let's take a look and see how they performed there. Tua had a monster game, 397 yards, 5 touchdowns. Let's see, receiving game, let's see how Brandon Cooks led the way. We love to see that success for him. 4 catches, 168 yards. That's a 42-yard average on the day for each catch. 2 touchdowns. Monster game for him. We love to see that success from that guy because he provided so much to these Texans throughout the years, but we know his time was up for us and we needed to move on. We needed to get some extra draft capital and keep moving up. So our next step is going to be, we're going to go back into our renegotiations, see what we got going on with contract status. Obviously, we started with Kamu Grugier-Hill, so we can keep that going. Obviously, we just need some linebacker depth, nothing too crazy. I think we said last time we need to move the salary up a bit more. I appreciate the offer, but I'm going to test free agency. Is he locking us out for the year? He is. Okay, that's fine. We don't really need him around. Philip Dorsett. Honestly, now that you're thinking about it, I'll let him walk. We don't really need to see that. Obo, our man Obo. Obviously, he was starting the preseason. We loved what we saw from him, though. So we put him on the IR for the year. And honestly, that's a pretty decent deal. 1 year, 2.5, 1.7. What if I up this to 3 years? That'll keep him here until he's 30. Let's see what he says to that. That's a good offer. We love that. We can keep Obo around. Hopefully, we get some good development out of him. But it looks like those are all of our negotiations. So we got one signed, one said he is done. He's moving on next year. And I think we're going to let our man, Philip Dorsett, walk as well. And now, exciting times. We can move on to the next part of our relocation process. And that means picking our team name. So obviously, we could stay with the Texans. We are still going to be in Texas. That it was an option. The fans aren't really interested in that, though. So we're going to have to move on from that. The 3 options they gave us, the city let us know, was they recommended the armadillos. Armadillos are common in Central Texas and hold a special place in the heart of most Texans. The bats. Bats are found all over Austin, are one of the city's most popular attractions. Or the desperados. Some of the most famous outlaws in the West could be found in the Austin area. Stay true to Austin's Wild West roots. So very interesting options. I think we're going to ignore the Texans. Armadillos are very cool. I think the least likely out of this one is the bats. They're just not, I don't know. The bats are coming to town. I don't think that's really cool. The desperados, I thought about this a lot. To be honest with you, I was very tied between the armadillos and desperados. I think desperados, I think they're an interesting idea. I think they're kind of cool. But the colors just aren't really awesome. Looking at most of the uniforms that were sent into me privately, they were gray helmets and the colors just didn't really mesh well with the jerseys. So I think that means going into next year, we will be the Austin Armadillos, and I think it's about time. I think when they relocated to Houston, I understand, I appreciated the work that was done by my predecessors, but just calling them the Texans kind of just a lazy way out, to be honest with you. So I think we're going to lock it in, the Austin Armadillos for next year. We love to see it. And we have moved on to our next week of action, and there's probably a lot of stuff we got going on now, so let's check that out. So first things first, in our bye week, let's take a look around the league and see what we missed as we weren't playing. It looks like after our tie, the Jags headed into Indianapolis to face the Colts, and they came up with a 10-point loss as well. So 2 straight 10-point victories for the Colts. Let's take a look. It looks like they had a much better rushing attack. The Jaguars had a much better passing attack. But it looks like it was a pretty even game. It looks like these 2 turnovers might have been the giveaway here. Pretty similar time of possession as well. Like I said, Trevor Lawrence, 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Rushing, 15 for 64. Looks like it was just a rough, drag-out game. And I think the veteran leadership of the Colts may have led the way for them to get them the victory. Interceptions, probably a good thing to check out. Kenny Moore with another one. Isaiah Rodgers with another one. So good to see them get those 2 interceptions. Any fumbles on the day? No fumbles on the day. So pretty breakdown game. We would have liked to see the Colts take a loss because they are leading the division currently. But anyways, that'll just put more fire into our rematch with them later on. Normally, we would also check out the Titans game. The Titans actually had the week off as well. So we will take a quick detour into the Dolphins game to check out Brandon Cook's status. I think it's a good common thing to check out every week just to see how this trade panned out for both sides. And it looks like Miami had a narrow 3-point loss to Minnesota. So they've been on losing end lately. And after that huge game last week, I really thought they would have done better. Miami consistent, 1 touchdown each quarter, but it was not enough to stop the Minnesota Vikings. They went on a 14-point fourth quarter to get them a go-ahead score. Let's see, Kirk Cousins, 318, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Tua, rough game, 229, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And for Brandon Cooks, let's see what he was able to get out of it. Obviously not Justin Jefferson numbers, but wow, he's low. He had 1 catch for 20 yards. Looks like they tried to lock him down after last week, and it worked. And normally we would also take a look at the team that we were going up against, their last week's game. But the team we were going up against is the Las Vegas Raiders, and they had an off week as well. They had a bye, so unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get a look at what they're coming off of, but we will take a look at their weapons in a moment. But now is the time we need to talk about us. So I got a message from the coaching staff. We have one of our running backs looking to break out. Let's take a minute to figure out what's going on there. Our offensive coordinator, Ed Green, he said, "Coach, I've had my eye on Dameon Pierce for a while. I was really impressed with some of the plays he made, and I'd like to see if he can lead the charge against Las Vegas this week. Who knows? He breaks out, we might have a franchise running back on our hands." I've been saying that forever, our man. So our goal is to get Dameon Pierce 2+ touchdowns or 100+ yards rushing or receiving. We all agreed that if we were able to get this with him this week, we can look at him as the next step we need. So we love to see that. That's a great goal for us heading into this week. It's time to check out renegotiations once more if there's anything going on. And Blake Cashman. Interesting. I think, surprisingly, he's made a lot of good plays for us. Let's start negotiations. And I don't think we need to try to cheat him out of anything. I think 2 years, 1.5, 1.2. I think that's good numbers. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's make that offer. And I'm happy to sign, continue to play. We love to see it. Thank you for your service, my guy. And it looks like, what's going on next week? It looks like next week, Rasheem Green is going to be available. Interesting. He's made a lot of big plays for us, but we could have some other options. So something to think about when we get in there. But yeah, obviously not a lot of great talent on this team. We know that, but it'll be important to re-sign the ones that are. And a lot of these free agents, these veteran free agents, if they are hoping to play next year, it might be worth it to bring them back. The next step of our relocation, we get to choose our uniforms. So let's head straight into it. Take a look at that. So obviously we said the Austin Armadillos. So we got 3 styles here. The first one, the popularity poll we put out, 30% of the fans said they liked this one. Like the Seahawks style, that's true. It does have that blend, very modern and slick, like the new style of pants here. Okay, interesting. All right, let's take a look at another one. Another 30% of the poll. These are great uniforms. They get my vote. Very cool contrast between the black and red. And come on, man, pick this one. This is very cool too. All right, and let's take it the third one. Awesome red helmet and jersey combo. I really like the color scheme here. Love the modern look here. I voted for this one online, and this one had a 40% return. So I know these might not be the best pictures, but if we take a look, these first 2 options, they have the black helmet with the yellow racing stripe down the middle, and the last one has just the pure red helmet with the armadillo on the side. I'm not a fan of this first one. Like they said, it does give a very much Seahawk vibe, and that's not really what we're going for here. We want to be original. To be honest with you, I really like the color blend out of this third one. I love the shoulder design. It kind of has that different arching style that the armadillos have. And I really like it. I think it's different. I hope it comes looking this nice on the field. And most of our fans want it anyways. So I think we are going to lock that one in. That will be our new uniform starting next year. A lot of exciting plans coming up. And now, after we look through all that, we look through what happened in our week off. It's about that time. Let's take a look at what's coming up. Heading into Las Vegas this week, we know that we do not have to worry about a strong safety. Jonathan Abram, he has a complete ACL tear. He will definitely be out for the rest of this year. Unfortunate to see that for him, but we won't have to worry about him. Also, the quarterback, Rock Ya-Sin, has a quad tear, so he'll be out 4 weeks as well. We will not have to worry about him. But now let's talk about who we do have to worry about. Taking a look, the Las Vegas Raiders are obviously led by their franchise quarterback, Derek Carr. He's been there for about 9 years now, Incredible work by him. We'll have to worry about him, obviously, in the passing game. Josh Jacobs, an incredible rookie season he had. He's continued to build on that. He'll be a monster in the running game. We have to worry about that as well. Their fullback, solid. Jacob Johnson, Devontae Adams leading the receiving core. Oh, man, that is going to be ugly. We have to do something about that. He's backed up by Hunter Renfrow, Keelan Cole, Demarcus Robinson, Tyler Johnson. So obviously him and Hunter Renfrow, very good options for them. Very, very good options. So we'll have to keep that in mind. The tight end, Darren Waller, another weapon in the passing game. Colton Miller, the left tackle. Left guard, John Simpson. The center, Trey Hopkins. The right guard, Alex Leatherwood. And the right tackle, Riley Reif. At the left defensive end position, starting the defense, we have Chris Wormley backed up by Vernon Butler Jr. At the right defensive end position, Bilal Nichols backed up by Matthew Butler. Then we have Linval Joseph backed up by Roy Lopez and Neil Farrell Jr. We know all about Roy Lopez. They took him from us. If I'm remembering that correctly. I'm pretty sure I am. But the left outside linebacker position, Max Crosby, a monster out there. You have to worry about him. He's backed up by Malcolm Kuntz. Denzel Perryman locking up that inside linebacker position. He's backed up by Jayon Brown and Kenny Young. Also, right outside linebacker, Chandler Jones, the longtime Cardinal, heading over to the Raiders. He's ready to dominate. We hope that he does not dominate against us. He's backed up by Clelin Ferrell. At the corner positions, we have Trayvon Mullen Jr. leading the way. He's backed up by Nate Hobbs, Darius Phillips, and Anthony Everett. The free safety position locked down by Trayvon Mulrig. I believe I pronounced that right. He's backed up by Tyree Gillispell. And at the strong safety position, we have Roderick Teamer Jr. So it looks like they haven't replaced the safety position, even though he's on the injured reserve. They had that roster spot open, or maybe they just couldn't find anything better. So hopefully we're able to take advantage of that. At the kicker position, they have Daniel Carlson. At the punter position, they have A.J. Cole. All right, now that we have an idea of who we're going to be facing, it is time that we set our game plans about how we're going to combat another AFC West monster. I think for our defense, I think our game plan is going to be we have to defend the short pass. Obviously, we can see from the stats, they love to unload it deep as well. And with Devontae Adams, it's very scary. But we have to lock down the short pass because we simply don't have the skill to be able to sit back and know. We have to make sure we are more towards the line, being able to shut down that run. Because if we're not careful, obviously they have all their passing weapons, but Josh Jacobs could take over at any moment. So we're going to defend the short pass. And in this change of pace, I know that we usually don't go like this, but we know Dameon Pierce is going to be dominating. We know that he's going to do good no matter what, even though the linebackers they have are kind of solid and they have some old vets at the defensive end position. Their safety situation, their defensive back situation is just so poor. I think we got to throw it deep. I think we have to go long, try to take advantage of that. So I've talked to the coaching staff. We have all submitted our goals for the week. Coach Lovie Smith has said he just wants us to win the turnover battle. A very common one, but a very important one. If we're able to win the turnover battle, you're able to get the advantage in certain situations. And with the talented offense like we're facing today, it might be needed. The offensive coordinator said he wants us to get 300 plus offensive yards, and I can see that, especially with our goal for this week being Dameon Pierce getting 100 on his own. Hopefully the passing game, Marlon Mack, all the other options, they're able to fill in and get us that other 200. Our defensive coordinator, allow 20 points or less. Obviously, an explosive offense. If we can lock them down, we have such a great chance of winning this game. And my goal for the week, I want to see 2+ passing touchdowns. I know Davis Mills has been very poor in the passing touchdown department, but today we're facing a very weak safety core. Hopefully, if we can make some good decisions, we can get some touchdowns and hopefully keep this ball moving. We have just finished training, and unfortunately, we saw some nasty stuff on the field. He saw an injury in practice. Christian Kirksey dislocated his shoulder. Good news is doctors have said he'll be able to be back next week, but this week he is going to be out. So we are hoping that we can make up for that in the linebacker position. Hopefully they don't take advantage of us in the run game because of that injury. Hopefully we're able to plug that up, but that is so unfortunate. But now let's take a moment. Let's talk about the positives, what we've seen growth-wise out of this team. First, we got to start with our man, Desmond King. Obviously, he's our third level corner. Young, prime, 27. He's a star for our team. Obviously, with Derek Stingley and Chris Harris, he tends to get the one that's taken advantage of or attacked the most, I should say. But He's done a very good job so far. We can't really complain. Let's see what growth he kind of had this week. Our coaches have said we just saw a lot of improvement in zone coverage, and that's huge. We have to run a lot of zone. We just don't have the talent really, but that's a good plug for us. We also saw some improvement from our man, John Mechie III. Incredible work by him. When we saw from this week, we just saw great improvement in a lot of categories. Awareness got a lot better. Ball carrier vision, juke moves, his medium route running, short route running, and spin move. They all improved drastically. We also saw improvement from our man, Blake Cashman, the newly re-signed, and we're going to keep him until he's 30. We saw improvement in awareness, pursuit, speed, strength, and his zone coverage. So hopefully he's able to do a much better job in the linebacker position. Hopefully he can fill in for our injured man this week. And very importantly, we saw growth from our man, Davis Mill. We saw him improve in his throwing accuracy in the middle of the field and his throwing accuracy short. Obviously, that accuracy has to get better decision making, but accuracy is a huge part of that. And real quick, just another piece, we want to talk about some other improvements we saw. Mario Addison, Ross Blacklock, Jalen Reeves-Maben, and Charlie Heck have all improved this week. So and with all that, we are set, we are ready. Coming off our bye week, we are heading out to Las Vegas. Hopefully we don't party too much. We are coming up against a huge battle with the Las Vegas Raiders. If we take a look at our standings down below, if I don't run it away, we're in second place still. We are 3-1-1. But the Colts have a 5-1 record. We have to be able to come back with them. We've already gotten a win against them earlier in the year, but that was because Jonathan Taylor wasn't there. At some point, we are going to have to go up against them. Let's actually take a look at the schedule and see when we are going to have them. We're going to have to go on the road to face them. So it's going to be a difficult battle. Let's see when it is. And of course, week 18. That's going to be our time. So if we can keep up our winning ways, we're able to keep up the effort, keep track with the Colts, that might be the day. But until then, we have some tough tests ahead of us. We have the Raiders this week. The Titans are coming to us the week after. Another big divisional game. Eagles coming into town to face us with Baker Mayfield going off for them. We have to go to New York to face the Giants. Commanders coming into town to face us. We're going to play the Dolphins. We're going to see Brandon Cooks once more in Miami, see how he produces against us. The Browns are going to come into town to face us. We're going to the Cowboys. Coming home, the Chiefs are coming to face us. We are ready. Coming off our bye week, we are heading out to Las Vegas and the year. Hopefully we don't party too much. And a lot of tough tests along the way. Huge battle. Hopefully we'll get a very. If we take a look at our standings down below, but until then, I hope you guys enjoy it. Second place still. We are 3-1-1. But the Colts have a 5-1 record. We have to come back with them. We've already gotten a win against them earlier in the year.